So we have to decide this, and this is the bubble exercise. We decide for ourselves, okay, so if Champ eats the food off the counter, whose fault is it? Is it Champ's fault or is it our fault? We left the food on the counter. He ate it, but we know that his condition is he's going to eat food on the counter. So what do we have to do? We have to counteract that with maybe put him outside before it's time to eat. Okay, but then you have young kids, and young kids accidentally let him in. Okay, then you got to train your young kids. But either way, Champ's going to be what he is. So then what you do is you create these lists of pros and cons when it comes to your dog or somebody in your life. And you look at it and you say, okay, do the pros outweigh the cons? Does the impact that Champion is having on our family as our beloved family dog, does that outweigh his gluttonous eating habits? And for us, the answer was yes. It did outweigh the gluttonous eating habits. And so we put Champ in this bubble, knowing that he's not going to change, but we would love him there anyway. That's the example I use in the book so as to not insult, people, but it applies to people, and I'm happy to say that. Yes, Joey?
I was just going to say with that idea, so it's expecting somebody to do a behavior that tends to be repeated that maybe gets on your nerves a little bit.
That's exactly correct.
Okay.
That is exactly correct. And from that expectation, what happens is you love the person where they are. Okay, so at a small scale, I use another sort of joke because this actually happened. I'm explaining this to my wife when I first came up with the concept, and I explained some different people, and then she looks at me and she goes, "You better not have me in a bubble." And I was like, "Baby, you are definitely in a bubble." And she's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you got the thickest, the toughest bubble of all bubbles, and I beg and plead for you to please have me in a bubble, please. I'm hoping you put me in a bubble because I know I piss you off. I know I do things that are not right. I know to the small extent, I know I leave my socks on the floor, and it bothers you, and you make a daily choice to love me anyway. That's you putting me in a bubble and loving me in spite of myself, and that's what the bubble exercise is about."
I love what you said there about the emotionally it bothers you. And there are those things that everybody has. Everybody has them, like no matter what. And even to different people, we get bothered at different levels by that thing, even based on maybe how much we love the person because of how much we see them. You see them so often, And
it can be interesting where you end up looking at the people that somebody maybe tolerates in their life, and you're like, how do you enable those people to be in your life, to infiltrate your world? And the truth is, if they've done that, you've decided to have them in your world, and as long as you're not complaining about them, then you've put them in a bubble. If you complain, you haven't really put them in a bubble.
And that's a good point. I feel like that's kind of common practice in society or just everyday life for the most part, for the everyday Joes, is like, you'll maybe put up with something in the moment, but then the second you have an opportunity to talk to somebody about it, you just want to let it all out.
Right.
Like tell them how terrible this was and that was, and that doesn't get you anywhere. That's not going to make it better for the next time.
And when when you say everyday Joes, you're not talking about just other Joeys, right? It's anybody. Sorry,
no, I was
so
speaking for the Joey community, actually.
Yeah, I thought so. Okay, great. Yeah, just making sure. There's a lot of Joeys out there.
The Joes you meet every day.
Yeah, everyday average Joes and Joeys and Josephs.
Yeah. So state your point again, Joey. I want to elaborate on that.
So this idea of I kind of forgot.
I ruined it. I'm sorry. I ruined it for a cheap joke.
It was a cheap joke. It was cheap. It definitely ruined that moment.
I wanted to make Joey laugh, and that's it.
Yeah,
so my bad. That's my bad.
That's okay. That's all right. Sometimes the improv mind cannot be stopped. Cannot be stopped, even if it does ruin a scene or a podcast. Okay.
That's right.
Anyway, I'm a sitting dog. Okay, here we go.
I don't know that sound effect applies to this moment.
What?
I'm a
sitting down.
I know how to get it back.
Okay, all right, get it back.
Can you go back and real quick go to the Bible verse again? Just say it's 3:13, but it's the idea of giving grace.
Yeah, and it was about not complaining is where you were going with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I will, because anytime you go back to the Bible verse, that's going to usually be a good one. Okay,
It's a
hold
good
on.
place to
Scrolling back
start,
on my
to
text
quote.
messages. Okay, this was Colossians 3:13. Forgiveness is a divine act of love that mirrors God's mercy.
So that idea of forgiveness is important to me because, especially with this exercise and how I explained it in the text this morning, the verse hit me, and it's almost like you're pre-forgiving somebody for something that you know, if you're honest with yourself, they're probably going to do this thing.
That was actually exactly what I was going to say. Pre-forgiveness. And
Yeah.
I didn't write that in the book, but when you asked the question, and then I look at this, that's the first thing that came to my mind was, yes, it's like you're offering free pre-forgiveness. I forgive you for that thing. And when you do it, not if, but when, I can't get mad because I already forgave you. I expected you to do it. The only thing that could happen is you could potentially positively surprise me
Yeah.
by not doing it.
And that's the exciting part is the outcomes become positive in that situation when you make that choice.
Yes.
Because you don't expect something that's honestly probably not fair expectation.
And if it happens once, you still got to have the person in the bubble.
Yeah.
It's got to be long-term, consistent change, or it hasn't changed.
Absolutely.
And that's another mistake that people make.
It's the idea of the constant, it's an everyday process. It's not, Rome wasn't built in a day. You can't change these things in a day. You can make the little choices that will then make it more obvious in everything you do in your life as you go along, but it's a process.
Yes. So the Arizona Cardinals they're going to blow at big games, okay?
Yeah, for sure.
They're going to ruin our lives as fans, okay? I cannot find it in my heart to put the Cardinals in a bubble. I'll just say that. It's not worth it to me. I cannot love them in spite of themselves. What they've done to me this season, I didn't watch the last game, and I don't regret it. Okay.
Sure.
This is an example of, to me, it wasn't worth it. To me, I'm like, you keep doing this to me, and you know what? I'm done for now. I'm done for now. I'll look later maybe, but like for right now, like I'm not putting you in a bubble. You didn't deserve the bubble. You don't get the bubble. You're out. You're out of my life right now. Arizona Cardinals.
Well, if you think about them, right, too, how much time it takes to watch an entire game, that's like a time commitment, a big time commitment.
100%.
It's also, I mean, if you're doing it right, you're putting a lot of energy into the game. It's the idea, we talked about this on a previous podcast, of when you're doing something, action, you want to be 100% invested in whatever that is. So when I'm watching a game, I'm up and down and I'm running and I'm doing this and that. And it takes a lot of your energy, especially when your team kind of sucks.
Well, that and or when they don't.
Yeah.
You know, when they're decent. When they have the best tight end in the NFL, and when the defense is through the roof, and they just keep dropping passes and then just keep making stupid decisions, and you're like, I can't do this for you anymore. I can't keep lifting you up when you don't deserve it.
Yeah.
I'm so angry at the Cardinals.
That's totally fair.
Right?
This point. I think it's like,
if the Cardinals were my dog, I would have got rid of the dog. Okay. In fact, I can tell you this. There's one dog that I did have to give up on.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
My whole life, I've probably had 30 dogs in my life, maybe. Like a lot, like a lot of dogs. I love dogs. There's this one dog. His name was Poppy. Beautiful dog. Very pretty. On brand, black and white. Like the cutest little dog you ever seen. The dog would bite you.
Mm-hmm.
And would bite kids and would growl at strangers and was like pretty good around me because I was alpha. But then I saw it was even starting to turn on me. And I'm like, if the dog's gonna turn on the alpha, this dog's gonna bite my new baby that was coming.
Yeah, for sure.
And it was Bo at the time that hadn't been born yet. And I was like, I can't. So I gave the dog back to the breeder, but it was like
Which-
that was a big
Which-
deal for me. I'd invested thousands of dollars into that dog and time and energy and love and trying to train. Like I was doing all of the things
Yeah.
that I know how to do, and it was give up time.
And that is an incredible sacrifice to make. So it's like it's really hard, and you had to make that sacrifice and make that decision to have to decide that I'm not going to put that bubble there.
Right.
And for life, for people, it's just as hard. It's so hard.
In
I
fact,
remember you walking
I
through
think
that.
this needs to be added to this book
Totally. I couldn't agree more.
because I use Champ as the example of one that I'm going to keep.
Yeah.
And interestingly, I had both dogs at the time because
Yeah.
Poppy came along when Champ was still around.
And I mean, you did everything you could with that.
Everything.
Dog. I remember Poppy.
Everything.
I liked Poppy.
I liked Poppy.
Like so did you. You
Yeah.
know? But there's certain things, and I think it takes a certain level of like discipline to know when to let go as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Of anything like that, whether it's a relationship, a dog, whatever.
And there could be something like peeing on the floor or eating food or like certain things that are major inconveniences for me versus the safety of people I love. And that goes back to that pros and cons deal, right? Because there could be a time when you actually have to say goodbye to like a family member for a period of time because their connection to your family threatens your family.
yes. Absolutely.
And it could be the saddest thing to have to do, but you might have to do it at times for their best interest and for your family's best interest, right? And I'm talking about extremes, but we'll say somebody's like on like a crazy drug that like literally makes them crazy and they're not themselves. Well, you'd be like, hey, I have to disconnect from you because I'm worried about the safety of the people I love. So for right now, it's not worth it for me, even though you're family, to have you in the bubble. I'd say 99% of the time you have to fight for family, but every now and then it happens.
Yeah, but then it goes back to tough love. You love them the most if you're the one that draws that line in the sand.
Yeah.
And nobody else is willing to tell them that. Like, and you know that when you give that information because you know it's not going to be received well no matter the situation.
Right. All right, everybody. That was the bubble exercise. We've got to wrap this thing because we're about to teach some kids acting classes. We're going to put all those kids in a bubble, I guarantee you. Hilarious. All right. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hang out, comment, do all this cool stuff on our channel. Sure appreciate you guys. Thank you for listening to the Best Listener in the Room podcast. We will talk to you soon. That's the wrong song. I'm switching.
Oh, I want